It was a bright Saturday afternoon at Iron Fist Martial Arts Gym, the kind of place where sweat mixed with pride, and every punch carried an echo of ambition. The heavy bags swung like pendulums as students practiced their combos, the sound of gloves hitting leather filling the air. Among them was Jake, a 25-year-old black belt with sharp eyes, sharper confidence, and an ego that could fill the room. He wasn't just good, he knew he was good. Every time he entered the gym, heads turned, not out of respect, but because they knew something dramatic was bound to happen. That day, Jake was sparring with a newcomer, showing off his quick kicks and polished form, ending the session with a spinning roundhouse that made the onlookers cheer. As he took off his gloves, he noticed someone in the corner, Maria, the cleaning lady. Maria was quiet and humble, always sweeping floors, wiping down mirrors, and picking up stray water bottles left behind by careless trainees. She wore a simple gray uniform and a bun that was always neatly tied. Her presence was so constant that she'd become invisible, just part of the gym's background. Jake, however, noticed her for the wrong reason. "Hey, careful, Maria," he said loudly as she mopped near the mat. "Wouldn't want you slipping and breaking a hip." His friends laughed, but Maria didn't respond. She just kept mopping, her face calm, expression unreadable. Jake smirked and turned back to his buddies. "You know what? I bet she's stronger than half these new guys," he joked. "Hey, Maria," he called out again. "Why don't you drop that mop and show us what you got? Let's have a little spar, for fun." Everyone paused. The sound of punching bags stopped. Heads turned. "Come on, Jake, leave her alone," one of the instructors muttered. But Jake grinned. "What, I'm just kidding. A little joke never hurt anyone." He looked at Maria again, mocking. "Don't worry, I'll go easy on you." The laughter that followed was uncomfortable, nervous. Some found it funny, others didn't. Maria placed the mop carefully against the wall, then slowly turned toward him. Her gaze was calm but sharp, like still water with hidden depth. "You sure you want to do that, Jake?" she said softly. The room went silent. Jake blinked, not expecting her to respond. "Oh, really?" he said, smirking. "All right then, let's make it interesting. 1 round. If you land even 1 hit on me, I'll clean the floors for a week." Gasps and laughter filled the gym again. The challenge was on. Maria nodded slowly. "Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you." The coach sighed but allowed it. "All right, 1 round only. No serious hits, just sparring," he said, trying to sound neutral. Jake bounced on his feet, rolling his shoulders. "This'll be fun," he whispered to his friends. Maria didn't even change her uniform. She stepped onto the mat, barefoot, her posture straight, eyes focused. She didn't stretch. She didn't warm up. She simply stood there, calm and collected. Jake chuckled. "You ready, ma'am?" Maria gave a slight nod. "Always." When the whistle blew, Jake lunged forward with a playful jab. Nothing serious, just enough to look impressive in front of the crowd. But before his fist could even come close, Maria moved. In a blink, she sidestepped, grabbed his wrist, and twisted his arm in a perfect judo lock. Jake gasped as his knees hit the mat with a thud. The gym went dead silent. "Whoa, what just—" someone whispered. Jake pulled free, embarrassed, his face flushing red. "Lucky move," he muttered, standing up fast. "Beginner's luck." Maria didn't reply. She simply adjusted her stance, her breathing slow and even. Jake came again, faster this time, trying to sweep her legs. But Maria shifted her weight perfectly, used his momentum, and flipped him clean over her shoulder. He landed flat on his back with a loud thump. The crowd gasped. Phones came out. Some started recording. Jake rolled over, coughing, his pride hurting more than his body. "What the hell?" Maria stepped back and said calmly, "You should respect your opponents, no matter who they are." Jake pushed himself up, anger rising in his chest. "Oh, I respect you," he said sarcastically. "But you're gonna regret making me look stupid." He charged again, this time serious. He threw a series of fast punches, sharp kicks, using his black belt skill, but Maria blocked every single one effortlessly. Her movements were clean, controlled, precise. Then in one graceful motion, she caught his arm again, swept his legs, and had him pinned, face down, arm twisted behind his back. Jake tapped out instantly. The room exploded, not with laughter, but with shock. Everyone stared. The arrogant black belt, the gym's pride, was taken down by the cleaning lady. Maria stood, dusted her hands, and quietly helped Jake up. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Jake nodded stiffly, avoiding eye contact. His friends were speechless. Even the coach stood frozen, unsure what he had just witnessed. Maria picked up her mop again and said simply, "Maybe next time you'll think before you joke." As she walked back to her corner, the gym remained silent, the kind of silence that carried respect. Jake stood there, still stunned. For the first time, he realized how foolish he had been, mistaking humility for weakness and silence for submission. That day, he didn't just lose a sparring match. He lost his arrogance. And everyone in that gym learned something far more powerful than a new fighting technique. Never underestimate quiet people. They often carry stories, strength and skills that can silence an entire room. The gym stayed silent long after the match ended. The only sound was the dull hum of the ceiling fans and Jake's heavy breathing. He stood there, completely still, his hands trembling slightly, not from pain but from disbelief. Around him, his friends avoided eye contact, their earlier laughter gone. Maria had already gone back to her corner, quietly picking up her mop again, as if nothing had happened. Jake finally spoke, his voice cracking slightly. What was that?" Maria didn't answer. She simply wrung out her mop and began cleaning the same mat where she had just defeated him. The coach, a thick-bearded man named Tom Reynolds, who'd trained fighters for 20 years, approached slowly. His brow was furrowed, his eyes locked on Maria. Something about her movements had triggered an old memory. He tilted his head, watching as she worked, the way she shifted her stance, the control in her posture, the perfect balance in her steps. Then it clicked. "No way," he whispered. "It can't be." Jake turned to him. "What, you know her?" Coach Tom's voice was barely above a whisper. "If I'm right, we all just witnessed a legend." Maria stopped mopping and sighed. "It's been a long time, Coach," she said quietly, turning toward him. Everyone froze. "Coach?" Tom blinked. Maria Lopez?" "The Maria Lopez?" Gasps spread across the gym like a wave. Some of the older members' eyes widened in recognition. "Wait," said one trainee, pulling out his phone. "You mean the national judo champion? The one who won gold 5 years in a row?" Within seconds, images began to appear on screens. Photos of a fierce woman in a white jai, standing on podiums, her hand raised in victory, medals hanging from her neck. The resemblance was undeniable. Jake stepped closer, still stunned. "That's you?" Maria gave a small smile. "That was a long time ago." The room was buzzing now, everyone whispering, some even cheering in disbelief. But Maria's calm face didn't change. She simply leaned on her mop and looked around the gym, her eyes soft with memory. Coach Tom broke the silence. "I remember you, Maria. You were unstoppable." "What happened? Why are you cleaning gyms now?" Maria's expression softened, but there was pain behind her eyes. She took a deep breath. "I had everything once," she began. Titles, fame, sponsors. "I trained day and night, dreaming of the Olympics. But one day during a tournament in Madrid, my opponent fell wrong. Her shoulder dislocated. Bad. They blamed me, said I was too aggressive. My coach at the time turned his back on me. The federation banned me for a year." Everyone listened in silence. "When I came back," she continued, "the sponsors were gone. My savings were gone. My mother got sick, so I quit fighting. I started cleaning to pay her hospital bills." Her voice didn't tremble. She spoke with the calm of someone who had accepted her scars long ago. Jake looked down at the mat, guilt washing over him like a cold wave. His earlier arrogance burned in his chest. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "I didn't know. I thought—" Maria finished his sentence for him. "You thought because I was a cleaning lady, I was weak." Jake's eyes dropped. "Yeah," she smiled faintly. "You're not the first to make that mistake." Coach Tom stepped forward, his eyes misty with respect. "Maria, you could still teach. You've got talent the world should see again." Maria shook her head. "I'm done with titles. I just want peace. But if these young ones are willing to learn, truly learn, not just how to fight, but how to respect the art, then maybe I can teach again." That single line changed everything. Jake looked up, his pride gone, replaced by admiration. "Will you teach me?" he asked. "Please, I want to learn from you." Maria studied him for a moment. The same young man who mocked her minutes ago, now humbled and sincere. Then she nodded. "If you're willing to start over, from white belt." Jake didn't hesitate. He untied his black belt and placed it on the mat. The crowd gasped. "I'll earn it again," he said. "Properly this time." Maria's lips curved into a proud smile. "Good. Then let's begin." From that day forward, Maria didn't just clean the gym. She became its soul. Every morning before classes, she'd still mop the floors, but afterward she trained the students in silence and precision. Her lessons were unlike anything the gym had ever seen. She taught not through shouting, but through example. Small corrections, quiet wisdom, calm discipline. Under her guidance, even the loudest, most reckless fighters began to change. Jake, especially. He trained harder than ever before. No longer obsessed with showing off, he focused on learning. Balance, humility, patience. Weeks turned into months. The once arrogant black belt had transformed into one of the most disciplined students in the gym. All because of the woman he once mocked. Then, one day during a community event, Maria was invited to give a demonstration. She hesitated at first but agreed after much persuasion. The gym filled with spectators, students, families, even local reporters. When she stepped onto the mat wearing a white GI again, the crowd fell silent. Her movements were fluid, graceful, powerful. Every throw, every step was poetry in motion. By the end of her demonstration, the audience rose in a standing ovation. Coach Tom, proud and teary-eyed, leaned over to Jake. "See that? That's what true martial arts looks like. Not in how you fight, but in how you carry your spirit." Jake nodded quietly, eyes on Maria. When the applause faded, Maria bowed to the audience and said, "Strength isn't measured by muscles or belts. It's measured by how many times you rise after life knocks you down." That line would later become the motto of the gym, painted across the wall in bold letters. True strength is silent until it's needed. From then on, Maria wasn't the cleaning lady anymore. She was Sensei Maria, the woman who taught an entire gym that humility is stronger than pride, and that respect, once lost, can only be earned through truth and grace. And Jake? He became her most loyal student, eventually winning his own championship. Every time he bowed before a match, he remembered that first lesson, the day he challenged a cleaning lady, and met a legend instead.